All right, this is our final episode for the year, episode 12. Today we're cutting through the noise, talking about what actually happened in real estate, mortgages, and private capital this year based on real data, real transactions, and real market behavior. No headlines, no hype, just clarity. Before we get into it, I want to bring in my co-host. Maya is here with me today. She's a real estate market specialist, works directly with buyers, sellers, borrowers, and investors every single day. She sees where deals slow down, where they break, and where they actually get done. Maya, glad you're here.
Glad to be here, Troy. This is the right moment to have this conversation and be honest about what really happened.
Okay, let's start with real estate. From a real estate standpoint, this was not a crash year, it was a recalibration year. Inventory did rise in certain pockets, but affordability, not supply, controlled the pace, and sellers didn't rush. They paused. Transactions slowed because people stayed put, unless life forced movements like divorce, estate sales, job relocations. But emotional sellers waited. Prepared buyers stepped in. That distinction defined this market. Homes traded when pricing matched reality, not expectations. Buyers who understood structure and timing stayed active while others waited.
And that pause was very different from fear.
Yes, it was restraint. People were watching, waiting, and recalculating. What do you think, Maya?
Yes, this was not panic selling, it was selective movement.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the other half of this equation. What about mortgages?
Yes, this is where expectations and reality fully separated this year. So a lot of people thought rate stability would equal relief.
It did not. Rates stopped climbing, but underwriting never loosened. Banks stayed conservative, guidelines stayed tight, liquidity stayed selective, credit mattered more, reserves mattered more, documentation mattered more, and timelines mattered more than ever. This was not a year where you could casually apply and see what happens. It was a year where preparation decided outcomes. Borrowers who came in organized closed. Borrowers who came in hoping exceptions would be made stalled or exited the process. That was the truth on the ground.
And that surprised a lot of people. They heard stabilized and assumed access followed. But access was still earned.
Right. And here's the key point most headlines missed. Higher rates did not kill demand. Uncertainty killed confidence. When people understand the rules, they move. When rules feel unpredictable, they freeze. That freeze defined much of this year. And this is where private capital quietly took a larger role. Private money did not replace traditional lending. It filled the gaps created by speed, complexity, and timing issues. Bridge loans, rescue capital, short-term solutions tied to real equity, not speculative plays, but real problems needing decisive solutions. We funded transactions where banks moved too slowly, where time-sensitive sales were at risk, where borrowers needed structure before permanent financing, and where properties were viable, but paperwork lagged reality. This was not reckless lending, it was strategic capital.
And in many cases, it protected equity rather than chasing returns. Which leads to the biggest lesson of this year. Structure beat optimism. The people who survived and succeeded did not guess. They planned, they understood their numbers, they aligned timelines, they respected reality.
Yes, that mindset separated results from frustration. Now let's talk about what actually moved deals forward this year, Maya.
It was not pricing alone, it was clarity, clear expectations, clear timelines, clear exits.
Right. Deals closed when all parties accepted the market as it was, not as they hoped it would be. Buyers who won understood leverage without overreaching. Sellers who succeeded understood price without ego. Lenders who performed understood risk without paralysis. That balance defines successful outcomes.
So, looking ahead, what quietly sets the tone for next year?
Transition. We are not entering a collapse. We are not entering a boom. We are entering a precision market. Fewer deals, better structured, less noise, more intent. Capital will favor clarity. Speed will favor preparation. Flexibility will favor those who understand multiple tools, not just one. Traditional financing will remain selective. Private capital will remain essential. And real estate will continue to move when life forces decisions. That is not pessimism. That is reality.
And reality, when understood, is empowering.
Exactly. So as we close out this year, the takeaway is simple. This market does not reward hope. It rewards readiness. And the people who learn that lesson now will be positioned far better moving forward in the new year. Okay, that wraps episode 12. Thank you, Maya.
My pleasure, Troy.
If you want clarity on a deal, a scenario, or a structure, or just a conversation, you can connect in 60 seconds. No commitment, just clarity. Thanks for being with us this year. Stay sharp.